And good morning. Happy Saturday, December 27th, 2021. 10 of you in here. Make sure you hit that like button, let the algorithm know that you're enjoying the content. And good morning, DJ, Blaine, JH, Alonzo. Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone who celebrated something this week, I hope that it went well and was fantastic. Morning, Cody. There's Bob, our first moderator of the morning in. And I think from what I'm seeing, I think the sign's actually is the sign backwards? Do I need to flip the video? Also, you can see, maybe you can't see it. Yeah, the NetTool stocking, there it is. So we're going to do a NetTool giveaway. NetTool is going to be drop shipping NetTool to two lucky winners here yet this year. So, uh, good morning, Prav, Gibby, After Dark, Ali, Noodles. I'm probably mirrored locally. Yeah, I'm using a little bit of a different camera. I actually am using my Logitech I think it's a C920 instead of the Canon M50 here this morning. So you can tell that's why the lighting was adjusted for the Canon M50, and so the lighting's a little bit different, and uh, got a little bit of a wider field of view, but yeah, I probably need to turn off like autofocus or something like that. But all right, 19 people in. All right, let me get back to the list of who's here this morning. Alright, good morning. TN Bighorn, good morning from Nashville. Ryan, yo, Jonathan. Yeah, Scott. Hey, Joe with cajoling Tech is in the house. I'm glad you're here, man. I've been missing you. You haven't been, usually there's a group of us when we communicate pretty regularly. And Joe's been so busy starting another business, which I'm hoping we're all going to get a preview of here pretty soon. Maybe the preview's happened and I missed it. But let's see. And TN Bighorn says, dealing with a cold and a small fever this morning from cooking turkeys in the rain Thursday morning. That'll probably do it. Yeah, so I'm hoping, and maybe Joe from Cajoling can speak more to it in the comments. Um, I'm not going to talk a lot about it because I don't have all the details. I just know that he's starting a new business that has to do with streaming and audio, video, and stuff like that. So, um, uh, let's see. I'm going to turn my morning, Jeremy. Let me turn my lights up here. Let's see. I can turn. No, they're as bright as I can mess with the softness, but I can't mess. They're as bright as they get for now. So we'll have to fix that next time. You know what? Just like life, we are continually learning, continually improving. So on Wednesday of this week, we did our first training since 2018. It was a unified training. It was scheduled for 4 hours, went for 5.5 hours. And the folks who participated in that are also going to get 3 1 hour follow up trainings, deep dives as lunch and learns. And last night I sent out the survey so I could get some feedback. And let me see where we're at with the feedback. I've got 5 responses out of like the 28 people that the survey went to. And so far, I've only had one person say they did not enjoy it. So we're sitting at an 80% enjoyment rate, which is fantastic. And 80% of the responses say that they are satisfied with the training. 100% of people said that they would attend future trainings. And then I've got some longer responses for what they'd like to see, how we can improve, and things like that. So that's really, what I'm looking for is like, how do we improve? How do we How do we do better? How do we provide more? So, hey, Ralph. Yeah, Ralph. So we're getting some good topics. So don't forget to put your topics in there that you want to see in those lunch and learns, because whatever the most popular topics are, and I left that a free form field, because what that's going to do is that's actually going to give me an indication of what's needed, right? Instead of me just guessing what's needed, the community feedback is gonna tell us what's needed. So I'm excited. We're gonna have turkey leftovers, and we always the last few years have smoked our turkey, and we're gonna have turkey leftovers. Hey, Tony with Quick Tech in the house. JH missed last Saturday. Was out deploying a new data center. The supply lead times are so bad. I ended up using 3 different brands. Yeah, lead times are not getting any better. We're seeing gear shipment from. I've seen Juniper shipments for 2023. Ah, so somebody says, is that white box next to you what I think is a router? So yeah, this is something that we're beta testing, and I think it's going to be fantastic. Is it stealing the focus? Is that the problem with the focus? No, I think it's okay. All right. I appreciate that, Ralph. Looking forward to your feedback. Morning, Sean. Uh, yeah, 2023, and it's a crazy world right now. And Joe says he's been traveling to Florida for his pops. Yeah, I hope your pops is doing all right. Um, Joe, we need to catch up. We need to catch up. Good morning, Scott. David, I love that everybody's joining in here. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button. Bob Carpenter's seeing 5 to 6 months for some things. Yeah. Ryan says someone rolled their car in front of the Peoria IT shop the other day, and we couldn't leave work for 45 minutes. I think I saw that. This is not an Apple Airport Extreme. It is not an Apple Airport Extreme. Yeah, and JH, you're exactly right. So we thought, okay, maybe we're going to get some good. Excuse me. Um, we thought maybe we were going to get some decent deals, and really, I think I saw the same prices on products a month ago, 2 months ago that we saw, and we didn't really go out looking for much yesterday. I was looking for Blink cameras because I'm going to be installing the Blink later today, the doorbell. I filmed the Wi-Fi video for the grand stream. I've just got to do the voiceover, get it edited. But I'm also working on cutting apart a 5.5 hour training to provide those videos to the folks who were in the training. But so I've got a lot of video stuff in the hopper. But yeah, I'm going to get the doorbell installed. But Blink had their at several retailers had their mini cams, their indoor cams on sale for 19.99, and I thought, well, I'll get a couple of those, and we could put it like put one like in the furnace room, put one in my office, put one where, like, if something crazy is happening, like the back door by the dogs, like um but everybody sold out of those $19.99 cameras pretty darn quick, so I may have to order them directly from Amazon. I need to look at training on Black Monday, Cyber Monday, whatever they're calling it. Usually you can get really good training deals. There's actually a Humble bundle right now. If you're a Humble bundler, I took a screenshot of it. I love Humble bundles, and let's see. It's like crash courses. It's like a bunch of crash courses on different topics. So I'm thinking about picking that up. Bob Carpenter asks, "What was the Thanksgiving beverage of choice this year?" So on Thanksgiving, I finished off a bottle of Jameson. I had a small bottle of Jameson, and I was just drinking it on the rocks. So it wasn't. I was actually. Oh, yesterday I did, and I'm probably more excited about this than I should be. Yesterday we were at Benny's Beverages, which is one of the larger beverage chains in the state of Illinois. and they've got one here in Peoria, and it was in the bourbon section, and they happened to be putting, and you could tell somebody had been there before me. And they happened to be putting Buffalo Trace on the shelf, and I was probably more excited over a $26 bottle of bourbon than I should be. But you can't find it anywhere. These go tos, these staples, they're selling out very quickly. And then we were looking at a midsummer, midwinter nights dram or something like that, and Friar Tuck, which is another beverage place, they had it for like $230, and you're talking like MSRP, that's like 99 bucks. So, and then they had a bottle of Michter's charred barrel. They wanted 350 bucks for it. So that all stayed there. I'm not sophisticated enough for a $350 bottle of bourbon. Yeah, I think the supply chain issues are going to be happening for quite a while. Uh, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, enterprise stuff is about 6 months out. We can't even get edge switches, right? We cannot get edge switches. And we use a lot of edge switches. Um, and I've had customers actually spinning up TP-Link Omada because it is readily available, and you can't get some of the Unifi stuff. Sean says, due to supply chain issues with Panasonic and Polycom decked phones, we are moving to Grandstream decked phones through our Granite Telecom account. I'm excited to finally work and deploy with Grandstream. Yeah, the decked phones work pretty easy. Um, so yeah, we use a lot of brands too, and I talked about this in the training. On Wednesday. Not just pigeonholing yourself to one vendor, but being able to use multiple vendors' gear. Um, Joe, I actually have the sync module for the Blink cameras, so my footage is going to stay local. Now it may get processed to the cloud, but uh, this is not going to be anything where we're not going to have cameras that store, that have that cloud proxy. None of those cameras will ever be any sensitive areas. So, yeah, and I think that Amazon pays these. I shouted out to Wise one time on Twitter. I'm like, look, how can you sell a $20 camera and give people storage forever? Well, now they charge you for it. But before, I believe that Amazon was paying them to let them analyze the storage. Now they denied it, but there's a reason that Amazon has the most sophisticated and in-depth facial recognition program in the world. Um, hey, so I heard that. Yeah, let's see. Good morning, Dave Robertson. Noodle says, tell me about shortages. I can't even get measly thermal printers for point of sale systems. So that's a good point, Noodle. So we're turning up a point of sale system here in the next couple weeks, and I had to go with the 2-inch receipt printers instead of the 3-inch receipt printers because the 2-inch receipt printers were the only ones we can get. Now the end user isn't going to care. I also had to get them in white because I couldn't get them in black, but we needed the printers to be ready. And so the other thing that I don't really care for is that it's a web-based point of sale system, and you have to have a Google Chrome plugin to do printing, and then it wants to print to. You have to have TCP/IP receipt printers. So it's definitely a way to sell new hardware. Let's see. JH says it's not just switches that are having supply issues. I'm having troubles getting APC connectors for new XPON. Yeah. Customers really actually like the TP-Link Omada. There's a lot more. Configuration flexibility through the UI, and they love it, and it's really, really inexpensive. Tony with Quick Tech says Starlink just delayed one of my clients to June 2022. Yeah, I heard that. There's some supply chain issues with their equipment. Morning, Jerry Scroggin. Let's see. Tony said with quick text says that the original Starlink order was placed in May of 2021 and now it's been pushed out to June 2022. There's probably there's probably a lot of people on that back order list. Ralph says he has a new 330,000 square foot processing building and 2-story office coming in July. That's a huge building. Can you give us an idea? 330,000 square foot. I don't know that anybody, Ralph, outside. Well, might be a few other people here, but can you give us an idea of how big 330,000 square feet is? Because that is massive, and it's like when you think about a million versus a trillion, right? And that orders of magnitude larger. So, like our house is like 2,700 square feet. So, like we could fit a lot of our houses inside that 330,000 square foot. Give us an idea if you could give us a comparison for how big that is. Let's see. Yeah, that is a lot of Wi-Fi, and and when you're doing Wi-Fi in a processing building or in a warehouse, you really got to tune that in. After Dark says, "I hate cloud-based point of sale systems." Yeah, I still think that hybrid's the future. Um, I think you'll see. I think Square will be the first one, but I think you're going to see a hybrid. Noodle says it's a mess. The only 3-inch I can get at the moment are USB RS-232 models. And here's the thing, right, about the RS-232 USB models. So we have Epson printers and some Stars that are USB and RS-232. However, if you put them on we didn't try Jet Direct, but we put them on other print servers that can do printing to standard printer port 9100, and Star point of sale printers will not print like that. JH says Omada reminds me of Unifi like 5 years ago, but added the features that people want. Yeah, and you can use the devices either way, so you don't have to use the Omada controller. You can use them. You can use them standalone. So Joe from Cajoling Tech asked, "Where did I get this sign from?" And Bob, or Joe, or Tony, if you could do a quick Google search and post a link in the comments, please. So my uncles own a company called Harmonyville Hill Creative Studio, and they have a laser, and that's actually multiple layers, and it's hand the colors of the TIA 568B there. Those are hand stained, but this thing is like all glued together. So they cut it out and they did just a fantastic job. And I never asked for a discount. I never asked for a family discount, but that sign was only like 35 bucks, right? So it's great marketing. I can take this thing with me if we go start setting up tables and stuff like that. And then the other thing that they did, that was a great segue, Joe. It's like we practiced that, only we didn't. So some of my customers who buy 10-hour time packs at a time are going to be getting these custom rack blanks, and so they engrave these, and they only charge me like $7 a piece for the engraving. And so this is going to look really nice at the top of somebody's rack, and then they'll always have my information there. So um, yeah, I'm really, really happy with the way that this turned out. And they are actually perfectionists, right? So they will not release the product to you until they're happy with it. And it's just, yeah, they just do great work. And this one they didn't charge me for because he wasn't happy with the way the H turned out. And so now he's got the laser tuned for what he needs. I still think that it turned out uh, fantastic. So I'm gonna get those out, and then some people are gonna get hats as well. So we'll get all that turned around and sent out here in the next week or two. Um, but yeah, if you've got people that are hard to buy for, if you've got custom work that you need done, so Matt, who's the one that does the designing and the cutting, he's an engineer by trade. He also has a degree in zoology. but then went is now an engineer, and he can do some pretty cool stuff, and he knows how to use like all the 3D CAD programs and can design pretty much anything you want. It's fantastic. They took I didn't have source files for my logo. I just have a scalable, a PNG and he took it and created. Now I have all the source files for that, so it was fantastic. Let's see here. I feel like I missed something here in the comments. Let me see here. Noodle says we don't sell any point of sale systems that need cloud access. No internet is no service. Yeah, so Square actually has an offline an offline mode. So oh hey Ralph put in the comments that's a 440 by 720-foot building, 840 feet corner to corner. Um, and so then Sean says a Costco is like 40,000 square feet, if I remember right. And I think Costco, we do like the ping pong memberships, right? One year we're a member at Sam's Club, and then the next year we're a member at Costco. And I think that Sam's Club is about the same size as Costco. I don't know. Sam's Club is a pretty big building, but yeah, that is a massive, massive building. And Ralph says they'll have just under 1 million square total feet. Holy cow. That's good morning, Alejandro. Um, let's see. Yeah, and so I really do think hybrid is definitely the future. Once people figure out what the cloud really cost them, um, they start kind of backing off a little bit. But the cloud definitely does have some advantages. But just do yourself a favor, because the thing is that there's a lot of the C-suite folks out there that think that we can use this cloud service and we can get rid of IT people, and then we're not going to need to know security and backups and all that. Burp, hard stop right there. You're literally just taking your infrastructure and putting it on somebody else's infrastructure. So you still have to be able to do backups. You still have to understand security. So just do yourself a favor, and you got to be really careful what kind of stuff you talk about when it comes to security on YouTube. So I'm not going to get too far into the rabbit hole, but do yourself a favor, go to Google and just search engine for exposed Amazon buckets. Just do like and you will see so many unsecured buckets on AWS. It's not even funny. There was a question about Omada here. With Omada, can you spin up a controller to manage clients? Yes. So I'm gonna I've got the gear here. I've got gear lined up that I got to get videos done on, but they have hardware controllers. They also have the software, and you can run it on Windows, Mac, or Linux. So you can spin that up, the same way. Let's see. So Ryan, I don't have my Volkswagen anymore. You probably missed the story about how the dealership uh, inadvertently flooded it, then ghosted me, and then I sold it for the cost of repairs. So it needed computers replaced and all kinds of stuff. So right now, my wife and I carpool, or I carpool with my son. So it's working out pretty well. It'll allow us to save some money going into next year until the car market. The used car market is out of control. So I am carpooling, and I don't mind carpooling. Especially when I carpool with my wife, it gives us time to talk about things that we need to talk about without the children around. JH says he's got a new batch of moonshine, should be coming out today. The mash is just about right. Please tell me it's not the Christmas tree mash. Let's see here. Ralph, what are LTS cameras? I'm sure that I could think about what that is, but off the top of my head, I'm not 100% sure what LTS is. Let's see. Bob says, I want a rack just so I can use one of those blanks in it. Yeah. All right. Yeah, look into the Omada for sure. Yeah, and so some people like go after TP Link, like they copied, Ubiquiti but it's a smart business move, right? If I was going to create a product where I listened to the end users and added some of those features and I wanted to onboard as many of those customers as quickly as possible, I'm going to make it look kind of the same. Um, Doug, good morning, Doug. Yeah. And there are a lot of people coming out of the cloud. Morning, Barry. Morning, Brian. Yep. Hybrid is the future. Bob, yes, they made the Day of the Dead skeleton. They do absolutely great work. That is Harmonyville Hill Creative Studios. Um, yep, and Joe, who if you know Joe, Hey Joe, though, I am serious. I do need to, as part of me telling people like you got to keep learning and stuff. Joe, I need to get with you because I am going to the two vendors that I'm going to study and take exams for is I need to take some AWS uh, classes and exams, and I need to take some Azure. The Microsoft stuff is going to be much easier for me because it's pretty much old hat, familiar interface. With the AWS stuff, I'm not going to be starting from scratch, but definitely not as in depth of knowledge with AWS as Azure. And I'm not going to be getting a Tesla anytime soon. Good morning, Uncle Joe from Unky Joe's Playhouse is with us this morning. And JH says Omada didn't copy Unifi. There are only so many ways to do an SDN. Mist and Meraki. But Mist by Juniper is a fantastic system. I like how you can upgrade the firmware on the EX series of switches, and you can join the switches to Mist. Gary says, yeah, that cloud security is going to cost you an arm and a leg, additional layers of software. Hope the cloud service is stable. Yep, absolutely. Ralph says, I'll get the time lapse on a Dropbox so I can share it here. So far, it's just the existing walnut trees getting cut down and burned. We would love, and we could post it on social. We could post it, links over to it and everything. Good morning, Justin. So, that's pretty cool. Always interested in looking at like the time lapse videos. It's so interesting what people do with that. So also, if you've got networking questions, make sure you post them in the chat. I got a few more things in a box down here. That I'm going to show you real quick. 67 of you online and 27 thumbs ups. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button so that the YouTube algorithm doesn't forget us. All right, what else do we have? Also, in the interest of, expanding my knowledge. Ubiquiti did send me over some of the new phones. This is the UVP Touch Max. I've also got a U6 Pro on the way, so that'll be here. So this is the big one, the big desk phone, executive phone. And so we're going to check out Talk. So I have a local client, nationally renowned turkey farm, and they want everything tip to stern. They want it to be Unifi, and that includes their phone system. And so I'm going to have to learn it, right? If I'm going to support these companies who are going to roll it out regardless, I need to learn it. So that's what we're going to do. I don't know if James is here or not, but James is also going to be learning Unifi Talk. Ryan says, is that an Amplify on the desk? This is not an Amplify. I can't show you the name. I'm not out from underneath embargo yet. This is a new product from an existing vendor. So, let's see. That is not Amplify, but I am going to give Amplify another shake because it was brought to my attention that one of the deal breakers for us was that if you had Amplify and your gateway went down or your internet, then it would stop broadcasting the SSIDs. That was a total deal breaker. And so the firmware, I've been told the firmware has been has been fixed to address that, so I'm going to give it another shake. Unky Joe says, I am buying silver. They need over an ounce for each electric car. All right. Let's see. Sean says, are you thinking of making some Willie Howe coffee mugs? So I actually looked into a drop shipping coffee company where I could brand my own coffee, and then you order from there and it shows up and it's got, my logo on the bag and it's, selected by me. I thought about doing that, but if coffee mugs are something that folks would be interested in, you know, I'm always, I have so many coffee mugs and I could always use another one. Bob says, how is the failover and fallback of OpenSense and others? PFSense needs a kludgy script to go back to the preferred ISP after it's restored. I've not had any problems with OpenSense. Rich says, any thoughts on the new traffic inspector page in the new controller? So I talked about this at length in the training the other day. I think it relies on you letting for the most part, it relies on you allowing the clients to use the UDM for DNS. Other than that, you can tell ports and things like that. But if it's not doing DNS, it can't. All it's going to give you is IPs and ports, right? Source and destination ports. So if you don't let the UDM touch DNS, then you are likely going to neuter that function of the UDM. Let's see. Ralph says, I need Azure Learning as well. Taking a couple small, less than 10 people companies that are part of our organization, and I'm trying to get everyone authenticating to Azure AD install of on-prem domain servers. So, yeah, that's definitely interesting. Was James here? I don't know if James is here or not. Didn't see him if he was. James, if you're here, say good morning. Let's see. Kelvin's with us this morning. I've been enjoying your writing, Kelvin. So yeah, I guess I'll get some coffee mugs made. So, when will you be doing the Faraday cage test with the APs? Soon. Soon. I know. The thing is, like, you have to balance things, right? I'm not getting any younger. That's not a secret. So I'm not at a point where like I'm having like huge capacity problems or anything like that, but I'm at a point where like I've realized that sometimes my priorities probably aren't where they're supposed to be. And so, just making sure that you're doing the things that you need to do, taking care of family first, and then taking care of other things after that. Time is limited here, right? And so, um, uh, all I can tell you is it will be coming soon. So you do know that with DSM-7, which by the way, right now, do not, if you are running Active Directory or directory services on Synology and you're on 6.2. Whatever it is, do not go and upgrade to 7 without having a conversation first, because I now have five clients who have Active Directory services and full send upgraded to DSM-7, and now we're having all kinds of issues. All kinds of issues. So, yeah. Let's see here. Justin says he'll take a coffee mug. Bob says I need a coffee mug that comes with a towel, 240 ounces minimum. That is a big one. Ralph says it took me forever to get a UDM working at my brother's house. Factory reset it like 10 times. Did you try to do it from the phone app? That's what I'd be interested to know. Good morning, James Brahman. All right. Yeah, David Anderson. So I do have a few subcontractors. I've added getting ready to add another one in Canada. I've got Faisal in Florida who can take on some of the more advanced high-end configurations. So that is also Faisal is a welcome addition, and then of course Tim and James. So Let's see here. Oh, 24 ounces, not 240 ounces. I was like, man, 240 ounces, Bob. That's a huge coffee mug. I don't know how many ounces this one is. This is from Synergy Micro Solutions. Synergy is the United States distributor of all of the Patchbox. I've got this video I'm going to do too, which is why my big heavy juniper switch is in by the rack, because we're going to do this video. So I need to get a day where that's what I do, is catch up on those, you know. Um, let's see. Sean says, "Are you talking about an AD server for DSM or joining a NAS to an existing domain?" So I'm talking about if you're using your Synology NAS as the domain controller. Now, however, where I was going with that is that Synology does now, with DSM-7, offer backup domain controllers, so BDCs. Right now, it's not exactly what Microsoft is calling them these days, but we all still call them that, right? Multiple domain controllers. Here's the thing that people forget: it can be a DC, but if it's not a GC, it can't process authentication request, right? So if you've got 15 DCs and one GC, global catalog, by the way, is what that stands for, and you've only got one global catalog, and that global catalog goes down, it doesn't matter how many times your Active Directory is replicated to other servers, you're not going to be able to process authentication requests. So, but the other thing that comes with DSM-7, and this is also on my list, I've also got QNAP videos I need to get done, is they now have a migration wizard in DSM-7 to migrate you from Windows Active Directory over to the Synology. And what it does is it connects to your Active Directory and it replicates everything over. Now, it doesn't decommission your servers, which is really, really nice. And I really, really like that, because if things don't go as planned, my original Active Directory is still running, and all I've done is made this replica, right? So here's the theory. I've got Active Directory running on site. I've got my DSM-7 box. I spin up Synology Directory Services, which, by the way, if you've been with us for a while, you know they renamed that. A few years ago when I did the first video on it, it was called Active Directory. And I'm assuming they got one of those from Microsoft, probably a nice cease and desist letter, if I had to guess. They renamed it to Synology Directory Services. Anyway, fast forward to where we're at now. So the theory is I have Active Directory on site. I have DSM-7. I tell DSM-7 I'm going to replace my Windows Active Directory with DSM-7. Connect to that. It replicates everything: users, objects, the whole kit and caboodle. Now what I do is I go into my firewall and I change, or whatever is doing my DHCP. So there's a little nuance to it, right? So if your Windows server is doing your DHCP, you're either going to have to change the scope on that or move DHCP services to either your router or either your Synology. But once you do that, you're going to point DNS to the Synology. In theory, if you do this with inside of just a few minutes, you're not going to have any issues, and it should take over. And we have done this successfully in production. So let's see here. So I hope that is. I hope that kind of talks about that a little bit. Yeah, that is the Patchbox, Joe. I mean, you're going to see a video on this, but this is the setup.exe. So this thing can hold 47 pounds, but it goes in your rack. You have to have a square. Somebody said that there's an adapter for these where they'll work in pre-drilled racks, but I haven't seen it, and I tried to search and couldn't find it. But yeah, this gets mounted, and so you can, one person. So I really like this from a um, inclusive standpoint of folks. So first of all, every tech should probably carry one of these, because whether you are an Olympian weightlifter, that has the biggest biceps in town, like holding a 28-pound switch, a 19-pound switch like this with one hand while you're trying to put screws in. Yeah, it is unnecessary, right? Work smarter, not harder. Now, people see the price of this and they freak out because this is not cheap. This is not a $10 tool. But what this allows you to do is, put this in the rack, and now I can slide my switch on top of it. You're going to see it when I do the video. I got to get this. I hear the dogs out there fighting. They're not fighting, but they are definitely after something. But yeah, so you're going to see that. James is now in the house. Good morning, James. Let's see. Thoughts on setting up a GoFundMe to get you a new car? I appreciate that, but I could never do that. Like, unless like we were destitute, like I would never set up a GoFundMe. Yeah, I appreciate all of you. That would pitch into that, but I couldn't use your generosity for that. That would not be right. So there are so many other good causes in the world that Willie having his own car is not one of those good causes. You know what I mean? Like there are so many other things that we should deal with besides Willie not having a car, because Willie can carpool and Willie loves carpooling with his wife. All right, what else is in the box? All right, so I'm actually going to open this one here in just a second, but this is the UVP Flex, which is like this is like their $20 handset. So I'm going to open this in just a second. Let's see if I balance it. All right, here's the trick, right? I'm going to put it here. It's going to fall off. It's going to spill my coffee, which is going to roll onto the laptop, onto the USB, into the switch, down into the power thing, and then I'm just kidding. We're not going to do that. But here is the U. So you'll notice that like these handsets look the same as the old handsets. I'm pretty sure that they are, besides the software that's running on these. Well, and there might be some upgrades. One of the things that I complained about the first handsets, um, and I was very vocal about this, and I had, so if you've ever been in the Ubiquiti community, or their forums, they have a group of people called super users, and they've been around for a very, very long time. And one of these super users is a mind-blowingly smart feller over in the Colorado area. And we're talking in the forum, and I said, I can't sell these phones. Now, this was before you were locked into their PBX. And it was after they had revived, if you remember, the beta program for the self-hosted phone system. One of my biggest complaints with these is that you cannot replace the handset cord, right? And I put that in the forum post, and he goes, that why? And I said, you've obviously never deployed phones at any scale. The number one consumable thing on this phone is that cord. The number two consumable thing is that piece right there. And if I can't replace this, that's a problem. I got to be able to replace that handset cord. And he just didn't get it. Blah, 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 blah. Well, because sir, you've never deployed more than one handset. That's why. So yeah, you have to be able to replace the handset cord. So let's do this. Let's open up this Flex. And let's see here. Joe, I hope that was as good for you as it was for me. All right, let's see what this looks like. It comes with a wall/desktop mount. So there, right there, they just scored some points right there because it comes with a wall mount. And I appreciate that. And it comes with, of course, mounting hardware. So let's see. Guess what? You must be able to replace the handset. Ubiquiti understood the assignment. Let's see here. Comes with the desk wall mount attached to it. It slides in the back like that. That was nice. Not sure how long that's going to last with that that friction there. So this is the UVP Flex. Not a bad looking phone, 2-line phone. There's the back. The packaging, I agree. The packaging is very weird, but I don't know why they did that with the packaging. I'm just going to be honest with you. But I am 1,000% happy to see that this has a detachable handset. Now, the question is, can I replace, we're going to find out, can I replace the handset cord on the other side? So you've got your handset and your headset. Now, let me, I had a customer one time who bought a bunch of Grandstream phones. And he emails me. He's like, these phones are garbage. I don't get any dial tone. And he had accidentally plugged the handset into the headset port. And yeah, once he figured that out. But this is honestly not a bad looking phone. So, but Talk is going to get the full review. James and I actually have a customer who has a trunk between their Talk system and something else. Okay, let's see. All right, so at least for the Flex, the handset cord is 100% replaceable. Now, here's another feature of the Unifi phones that I am actually a fan of. So can you see this dot right here? I don't know if you can hear that. That is mute. So I don't have to reach down to my desk to hit mute. I'm on the phone, and so I'm actually a fan of that. So if other phone manufacturers were going to steal a single feature, right there. And what I don't know is if I can use this handset on another phone and make that work. And so as promised, some mounting hardware and what is this? Of course we know. Jeez Louise, not had enough coffee yet. Let's see. Guess what? Replaceable handset cord for the win. So, pretty nifty. We'll see how it works out. I'm not promising anything. The phones are going to have to be, we're going to have to dog food it. So, and then let's see what else is in the box real quick. So they did go ahead and send me a solar point. So now I have almost everything I need except for batteries. I've got to go get batteries to set up a solar deployment out in my front yard to catch the Indy 500 that happens on my road. Which I need to figure out how I'm going to do that, but I want to make manually the first clips you'll see. I'll have to manually calculate how fast the cars are going. I'm hoping to come up with some sort of a way to make it so it's automated. All right, so let's go back to the comments real quick. JH says, always watch the ads on Willie's videos. So if you're seeing an ad on my video, and I appreciate the sentiment behind that, just know that I am not getting the revenue for that. So it's if you're seeing an ad on my video, it's because I've used some sort of content where the content owner has done a copyright claim, so they are making the money off that because my channel is not monetized. Let's see here. Sean says it might be a good idea for an updated remote toolkit video. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Good morning from South Florida. Good morning, Dennis. I don't know what we're laughing at, Joe, but I'll get back to it here. James says Synoformless DSM 7 needs 1 gig of memory. Well, That's what they list, but I can tell you from a couple of the OneDrive boxes that it actually works. And it actually makes them faster, even if they don't have a gig. Let's see here. Yeah, Bob says replacing handset cord by replacing phone not acceptable. That you're right. That is not accessible or not acceptable. Sorry, I'm trying to read everybody's comments. Um, Justin says I've been handed the sysadmin position for my day job, and I know I need more training, especially in Active Directory. What are your thoughts in AAD? So Azure Active Directory and its level of FIPS compliance. I don't really have any thoughts on that because I've not had to really think about that. But Azure has all kinds of industry certifications and credentials. Yeah. So uh, it's a good question. Ryan Sharp says, "Why in the flying fudge is the port on the bottom where the phone rests on the table?" Well, if you look at the way that the phone rests, um, so I've got the mount on it, right? So when I set it on the desk, it's going to be like this. Of course, that is totally totally a joke. But Ryan makes a good point. Ryan makes a good point. So when it's resting there, that'll be in the review. All right, back to the comments. Mute button is brilliant. Yes, the mute button is yeah, Joe says that finger of yours can push the button at a very rapid clip. So I used to play a lot of Duck Hunt back in the day on the original Nintendo Entertainment System. So that's where that came from. JH says just about every place I go is moving to Teams technology. I'm waiting on them to get the bill for the first year. Yeah. So yeah, I know somebody who's doing a Teams integration with their phones right now, and I do think that they are gonna Teams is the most kludgy. Like, I do not enjoy Microsoft Teams at all. And I can take a Teams user and a Synology Chat user, and they love Synology Chat, and they're like, ugh, Teams. Um, let's see here. Joe from Gajoling says there is some irony of a guy without a car trying to stop speeding. Yeah. Noodle says looks like the usual mind-boggling Unifi engineering. Yeah, there's definitely some things while we're looking at that going, what the what? So, all right, if you've got any more questions, now is definitely the time to post them. Yeah, and even so, Unky Joe, who is like a huge user of the Office 365 platform, says that Teams is a hot mess. So, you know, um, it's not. It's definitely, guess one man's hot mess is another man's treasure. Isn't that how that works? So JH says Microsoft is putting too many different apps into Teams. So Brian says Visio plus Teams, so much time wasted using these products. Yeah, video used to be the way that it goes. So Bob says I live on Teams for work, and every week there's new features. Yeah. So, all right. So I want to thank you all for being here. Good morning, Rich. And I got to get going now. But I do want to thank you all for spending a little time with me here this morning. If you'd like to support the channel, all of the links are down below, clearly marked. And if you need any consulting, go to williehow.com, fill out that contact form. As always, I want to thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.